What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu. You are watching the Marvel edition of the Ragin Nation show. This is just a web series where we're talking about all things that matter to me in the world of Marvel films. The first thing I gotta talk about is X-Men Days of Future Past. And X-Men Days of Future Past is absolutely awesome. Like I said before in my review, it's my favorite, or rather the best out of all the X-Men films in the franchise. And X-Men Days of Future Past now is officially the highest grossing X-Men film in the franchise. It has raked in $500 million worldwide, and it still has more money to make. That's $500 million only in its second weekend of release. So very, very exciting, all right? And that just means that this is gonna open the doors to even more X-Men films for the future. It's 20th Century Fox's big franchise, big comic book franchise, and they have plans of getting us even more hyped up, especially for the sequel Apocalypse, as well as standalone films like Gambit, and who knows what else they're gonna make, alright? So very, very exciting. Now, they already mentioned plans for the Blu-ray. I mean, the movie's only been out for 2 weekends, and already they're talking about Blu-ray exclusives. So I'm just gonna share with you some Blu-ray exclusives here, and the first thing I'm gonna show you is something that is official, and that is the X-Men Days of Future Past Deluxe Edition Blu-ray release. That is Blu-ray 3D, where you get the Blu-ray, a 3D Blu-ray, the Blu-ray, and a digital copy. Now you also get this Magneto helmet. All right. Now, a lot of people are thinking, now, is this Magneto helmet going to be wearable? Actually, it's not. I mean, this photo that you see here is actually, everything's in scale. I've seen them make helmets like this before with to coincide with the Blu-ray release. When I saw the release of 300, the Best Buy exclusive was the Spartan helmet, and actually it was only this small. Okay, it's actually this small, and the Magneto helmet, I'm sure, is no different. All right. Now, another exclusive that they're including is the X-Men Collector's Edition, where you get the Cerebro helmet. It's a big box, and then you get all the other films in the series, in the entire franchise. That'd be X-Men, X2, Last Stand, Origins Wolverine, First Class, The Wolverine, and of course Days of Future Past. Now, what you see here is tentative. This is not exactly what might be represented in the actual release, but this is what their tentative plans are for a new box set. You know what's very, very interesting is that every time they release a new X-Men film on home video release, they will release a box set where they contain all the films. So essentially, you're gonna have to double dip or triple dip every single time if every time they release another X-Men film on Blu-ray. So it's really quite a you know, they're really milking the fans. But hey, if you don't have all of them and you want all of them, this is a great way to get your hands on all of them all at once. Now, moving on, talk about other Blu-ray news. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Once again, 3D Blu-ray, digital HD version of the film. And what's very interesting is that they do not include a Marvel one-shot with the Blu-ray release. As far as I know, there's no Marvel one-shot. Maybe they're going to change that later on, but according to the description that I've read, there is no plans for a Marvel one-shot in the release of the Captain America Blu-ray, so that's kind of disappointing. But at the end of the day, it's still Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which is an awesome film. It is coming out on September 9th, and there is a video promo for the Blu-ray. You can check it out on the description box below, hosted by comicbookmovie.com. Now, speaking of X-Men Days of Future Past, the writer of X-Men Days of Future Past and Apocalypse, Simon Kinberg, is also the writer for the Fantastic Four reboot, and he says that the Fantastic Four reboot is going to be told in the same narrative style as Batman Begins and Iron Man. Okay? Now, Batman Begins and Iron Man are a really great origin story because they really took the time, like at least like a good half of the movie, to develop the character from either Bruce Wayne or Tony Stark to Batman and Iron Man. Like, they really took the time to make that development happen, and it is very, very cool. Now, that tells me that Fantastic Four, possibly like X-Men Days of Future Past, is going to be a more character-driven story, which is something that we need. All right, if you have 4 members in a superhero team, the one thing that really can kill it for an audience is if you don't develop all 4 of those characters, is if you just put the focus on one character, and then what happens is that we're going to be like, well, what about this character? What about this character? They didn't give him enough screen time to this character. They don't develop any of the other characters. You know, that's not what we want as an audience. We want them to be equals, and we want them to really develop their abilities and go from a very progressive transition from their original human selves to their superhero selves. So it's great to know that Simon Kinberg is going that direction, all right? So very, very exciting for all of us. Now, the next little bit of news I want to talk about is Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm sure you guys already know by now that Thanos is going to be played by Josh Brolin. That is exciting to me. Now, when I first read the news on my iPhone, I was, you know, just scrolling around, then suddenly I saw it, and I was like that, okay? Like, wow. You could not get a better actor to play Thanos than Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin is just the #1 choice for me. Now, I wouldn't have thought about him at the beginning, but when they mentioned that, I was like, yes! And then I read the article some more, then I realized that he's just going to be voicing Thanos, which is still great. I mean, Josh Brolin is putting his performance, his voice acting performance, but he's not necessarily going to be acting, as in he's not going to be in the movie physically. He's just going to be in a voice acting booth providing his voice, all right? That's not bad or anything. I was just hoping more for his actual physical appearance, right? So, but still, very, very cool. Josh Brolin can have a very, very evil leader type hulking voice if he needed to. I think he could pull it off. So I'm pretty excited about that. So very, very cool stuff. Now let's talk about Ant-Man. Now you guys already know that Edgar Wright had to depart. Well, he felt that he had to depart from the production of Ant-Man because, you know, the studios are not realizing his vision as a storyteller, which is really unfortunate because I wanted to see Ant-Man like a Edgar Wright directed Ant-Man film. But unfortunately, he's gone, and now they are looking for other directors to replace him. Now, the lineup of the directors was Adam McKay, Rawson Marshall, and Ruben Fleischer. I had never seen anything from Rawson Marshall, but Adam McKay has directed a lot of Will Ferrell movies, Will Ferrell comedies, and Ruben Fleischer has directed Zombieland, which I really, really enjoyed, okay? Adam McKay was originally in talks to direct Ant-Man, but he dropped out, okay? So he's no longer in the picture. I don't know about Rawson Marshall, but I would totally be game for Ruben Fleischer directing Ant-Man, because there's a little bit of a comedic tone to Ant-Man, okay? Like based on the comics, there is a little bit of like that comedy in there, all right, because of his character, along with some of the other characters. But and I think that Ruben Fleischer, you know, directing a zombie film with that romance comedy aspect to it, like he knows how to tell a versatile story, all right? So I think that if there should be another director in this list of directors should be directing Ant-Man, I would go with Ruben Fleischer. All right, I want him to be part of that Marvel team. I think he could pull it off. And with Adam McKay gone, it narrows us down to these 2 directors, and that's who I'm going to go with. So there you have it. Now, speaking of some other news in the universe of Marvel films, not necessarily the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Rob Liefeld, you know, the artist Rob Liefeld, he tweeted that the plans for an X-Force film has been shelved for now. What it means to be shelved is that a project is on the shelf now. It's just on the back burner. It's no longer something that is being talked about at the moment. It's just put aside for now. The main reason why is because 20th Century Fox decided to work on X-Men Apocalypse instead. There were plans to make an X-Force film, all right? But once 20th Century Fox announced that they were making X-Men Apocalypse, the X-Force film plans were put on hold. So I'm just letting you know that, you know, X-Force is coming, but not anytime soon. As long as X-Men Apocalypse is in the works, X-Force is going to be put on hold. And you know what? As a business, 20th Century Fox has to go with what is more, I guess, what is the bigger selling property. All right, right now it's X-Men. There's a lot of popularity on it right now. I think that if anything, do it afterwards or while the 20th Century Fox is producing a Gambit film and X-Force. Do it together at the same time. That way, you know, like that way it's not it's not something big, right? A Gambit film is nowhere near as big as X-Men, and an X-Force film, considering it's like the very first film, it will never be as big as X-Men, all right? Considering that you're going to be having small-time actors, and it's probably going to be a smaller budget or something like that. But anyways, that's all I got to say in this video. I'm really excited about all the stuff that I talked about, so let me know in the comment section below what you, or how you feel about anything that I've talked about, all right? As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. Mentioned, like a Sith Lord will be mentioned in the Star Wars spin-off, so that could be very exciting for Star Wars fans. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about is a sequel